Hello, welcome. This is Access Astrology. We are three astrologers who get together every week and look at the sky, look at what's going on around us, going on in us, and we reflect on all that and get through the week. I'm Mark Woltz. I'm saying hi from New York City. Also from New York City is
Ann Ortley. I'm on the east side over here at the Bright Red Desk.
And this is Heather Rowan Robbins. And just for this week, and normally I'm in Montana, I'm up in Tarrytown. And we're going to be heading back to the East Coast, the West Coast soon. But it was wonderful. We had a lunch today and we got to spend time together and eat great Greek food. It was great to be in person and get hugs from these two.
We all got hugs.
We've been working together for, almost 30 years? 25 years.
When did you move here for your master's?
I moved there 3 weeks before 9/11 in New York.
Okay, so
I think we started working together about 2003, so it's a little over 20 some years.
Yeah, well, it's 24 years since 9/11. Yeah, so
yeah.
It was Heather's idea, and she was like, "I came from Santa Fe, and we do all this. We meet once a month. Why does nobody meet in New York?" And so she rustled Mark and I up. And we started at the Coliseum, and then we went. Every time Saturn changed, we changed locations. So we went to the East West, then we went to the Open Center, and then we went to the church next to the Open Center, and then COVID came, and we went online, and here we are.
online.
Radio shut down, and then we went on to this. So we've had adventures. But yeah, it's good. It was a good union chart,
Yeah, and every week we've been talking about the week ahead and then watching to see what happens. And that's taught me a lot about astrology over the years.
Yeah,
with the work that we do and the articles we write. So this is the chart for today, for tonight, and tomorrow morning, early in the morning, it'll be around 8:12 here in the East Coast and 6:12 out where I live. And we'll have the exact full moon, but it's pretty darn full glowing up there tonight if you go outside and look. Yeah. And full moon in Taurus is almost an oxymoron because it's so settled and yet it's so full and it's so exciting. It's so earthy, but it's, but it's also not as wild as, say, the Aries full moon.
Yeah, in the morning was Aries full moon, and then we had a little void. And then now we're in the back half, which is the Taurus moon exalted and Cancer. So there has been, it's the election day in the United States. So there's been a lot of people voting and electing. So that's kind of cool. And then also Dick Cheney died today, which I thought was kind of interesting that he died on election day. And then we also had the Mars-Uranus opposition today. And that was the plane, I think the Mars and Sag, the plane crash in Kentucky. Mars, Uranus crashes.
And the tower that fell in Europe, that was also a medieval tower that collapsed. We would talk about that with the Saturn-Neptune conjunction that's been going on, it's dissolving structures. So it's brought some interesting dental issues for a lot of people this year. And me too today. But it's also been it can dissolve oppositions, can stall walls, but it is, we're having some of that dissolution energy.
And Venus is back at the conjunction in 82 when Reagan was president, when we had the Iran-Contra war and Dick Cheney worked for Reagan, who was showing signs of early dementia. Now we have a president with maybe some dementia. And, we're kind of repeating the cycle. So it's an interesting, I was thinking about that after I heard he passed. So, it's the world. We're in it, it's kind of going forward. And Venus is coming forward to square Pluto over the next couple of days. So that's always in a little bit of an intense energy.
It's is love is to lose, or love is a power trip, or just seeing old friends and knowing you're going to miss them again. How is that? Now we had a question. You mentioned last time, Anne, that you were heading into cataract surgery.
Yes.
So how's your eye doing, Anne?
My eye is fabulous. I have my left eye operated on. I have my right eye next week, and people go, but Mercury retrograde. And I go, well, yeah, this is a reschedule of the cataract surgery that was scheduled for 2023. And I'm having a Jupiter return, and the aspects are nice to the moon, and the moon and the sun are in my chart. Well, moon and sun in everybody's chart. The moon and the sun rule the eyes, so you look for good aspects to those. And so yeah, so it's had one, and I got another one to go, and off we go. So it went well. It's kind of weird waking up and being able to see. And I was in the shower the other day seeing things, which, you don't normally do. And I don't normally see things in my shower because I don't wear glasses. And I was like, I should have had this done in 4th grade, which is when I had to start wearing glasses. And I remember seeing leaves that had drops on them. I'd never seen drops before once I got the glass, like dew, rain on the leaves. I was like, wow. But now I was in the bathroom, I'm thinking, I've been blind as a bat since I was 9. And now I can see things. And it's really wild to wake up. And then, of course, I'm a Virgo, so you notice. I go, ooh, that's a little dirty. I need to clean it. So that's the bad part. That's the bad part about the cataract.
Look at that leaf. That's so beautiful over there. See beautiful things with your eyes also.
Yeah, but there's dirt on that little thing there. I got to scrub it. So I'm running around with Windex and Windexing things. It's just like the dial that you use to dial up the lamp when you turn the power on.
Yeah. But you notice it before.
The dimmer switch. The dimmer switch is dirty, and hadn't noticed it before, just dimmed the lights,
And that's that Mercury-Mars conjunction, and there's 3 passes. And we've got one coming up in Sagittarius. We just had one in Scorpio, one in Sagittarius. The next one will be in Sag. And I'm seeing it cut out. And we've been looking at the questions in the political situation of what do we cut out? Do we cut out healthcare for children? Do we cut out Great Gatsby balls? Do we cut out people that are, they're starting to sort who gets the loans for their loan reduction is based not on how well the person did in college, but on who they voted for. So there's been like, well, how do we cut out those situations? But I'm also seeing it in working well in pruning trees and paring down and editing, cutting out what we don't need. Just be careful not to cut out what you do need. Watch that surgical approach. That's really good for things like eye surgery. It can, or, sudden appendicitis, but it can be really don't throw the baby out with the bathwater as part of that process.
I went to the dentist today, speaking of dentists, after our lunch, and on the way home, they had bonsai tree ad in the cab saying, come to the bonsai class and learn how to trim a tree. Now, I had friends that were very big into nature, and they were like, you're torturing trees when you do bonsai. You clip them and you put them in the little, but they were like, we guarantee your bonsai tree will live. Come and have a bonsai group experience, bring your office and cut trees together. Surgical precision when you were saying pruning.
That's perfect use of that. And in Sagittarius, it's out bringing the outdoors in and the indoors out.
And it's bringing an ancient Chinese, I don't know if it's Japanese or Chinese, but bringing a foreign practice into, a cab in New York City. So
yeah, that's pretty wild. And I see that Saturn Neptune is dissolving old structures of, we're seeing, old authorities. We're really re-examining what it means to have authority here in this country. It's dissolving old systems, but it can also bring spiritual authority and be good for spiritual disciplines. It is a wonderful time to focus on that, which your own spiritual discipline or your own form of meditation or some way of listening to spiritual teachers that you like. Don't give your authority away to anybody, but use it tuning into spiritual teachers. That's also a good use of that ongoing Saturn Neptune all this year cooking us.
And also the Venus is the only planet in her rulership in the sky. So she is herself by herself. So that's good energy because she's kind of talking to that Venus Saturn. It isn't a quincunx, it's an adjusting energy. But she's saying to it, understand why your structures need to change. And she's moving into a form of finger of God over the next couple days with the Saturn, Neptune, and the Uranus and Gemini. So you want to watch for where you're being asked to follow your heart creatively, because the old structures aren't there anymore. It's kind of like, I had a lot of clients who lost their houses in California, and they had, when the fires in January, and they had to find a new place to go, and everything's gone. And what do? What's the vision that you're bringing in? So as Venus comes to form that finger of God, she's forming it with the Saturn, Neptune. You're seeing the dissolving, but she's also going to form it with the Uranus to say, what's the change? And this week, Uranus is going to go back into Taurus. So she's going to form it with the two planets, the three planets that are all shifting out of earth and water into fire and air. And she's in air. So she's going to be inspirational to them and say, come with me, come with me. So it's a really interesting week, because when a planet's in its rulership and everybody else isn't, I find it's the strongest planet in the chart.
Right. Yeah. I agree. Which helps you think about how to use it in a natal chart.
And it's back to 1982, Iran Contra. That's when Saturn and Pluto were at that age. So here's Dick leaving. I'm like, all right.
Bye. So we have, so Jupiter is just about to turn retrograde, and it is trining Saturn exactly 25 to 25 in water signs. And that can usually mean that there is often we see Republican and Democratic tension show up in the Jupiter-Saturn tension. It's not been quite working as Saturn. This particular Republican government isn't particularly Saturnine. It's not about being conservative, but you might find that there are some political reaching across the aisle, backstage connections, a few people breaking ranks in the Republican Party and voting in a different way over the next few weeks. Maybe not enough, but that trine is strong, and it starts to talk about different coalitions than we've had before. Now, Mars has just left Scorpio, and I think everybody's going, woo! To that.
Now it's answering to Jupiter and Cancer, right? Yeah.
Right. Now it's being Jupiter and Cancer, and Venus is still so happy in its own home. But it's that Mars. I find that just my irritation level dropped when Mars left Scorpio. How about yours?
I got hopped up because the Mars was acting on my progressions are in Scorpio, and my Jupiter, Uranus, and Cancer. So I got like all action oriented. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't upset about it. I just got like, and my to-do list got bigger, So, Mark, what happened with you?
I just felt a kind of relaxing energy to it. Okay. Even though Scorpio doesn't seem like a relaxing spot.
But it felt relaxing.
Yeah, I guess I was feeling Venus as a responsibility in Libra. You got to use it right.
Yeah.
So we've got a couple of charts to go through tonight. I'm going to put it. Is there anything else you want to say before we put up the individual charts?
The full moon. Put the full moon one up.
Yes.
It's a busy week this week because Mercury goes retrograde. There's a full moon. Uranus goes back into Taurus, and then Jupiter is stationing at the degree. He's not stationing till next week. Not going retrograde till next week, but he's stopped, which is always whenever a planet stops in the sky, it's a big deal. So Mercury stopped this week, and Jupiter stopped this week. So here's our lovely full moon. So if you've got stuff at 13 Taurus, when you go back 18 months, which would be to Taurus time in 2024, go back to May of 2024. That was when the conjunction happened in Taurus. And then the Aquarius moon opening square happened February of this year. And now we're at the full moon. So we're seeing, how are we going to work with this energy? I always love the Aquarius one because it's like have sex on Valentine's Day and get a Scorpio baby. So this is a very fertile moon.
Yes, it is.
Also very much tied to money. Now Venus is about to go into Scorpio in her problem place. She doesn't really like Scorpio. So that's also why we have financial corrections when Venus shifts into Scorpio. So if you're in Bitcoin, you might consider taking a little cash off the table. I always think of it as you don't want to be a turkey on Thanksgiving. So no turkeys, so kind of look at your portfolio if it needs a little adjusting. And now you can see the Venus is actually forming the finger of God in the full moon. See it?
Yep.
She's now quincunx to both Uranus and to the Saturn Neptune in the series. So that's good. That's all I wanted to do is say, yeah, look at that full moon.
And then we see Mercury turning retrograde on the 9th until the 29th. And as Mercury turns retrograde, I think this is going to be a bit of a doozy because Mercury is already in its fall in the sign opposite the one that it rules, or one of the ones that it rules. And it's got Mars coming up on the inside. I'd say this is a time to be very careful of your driving, to really plan things ahead, to watch those spontaneous comments, accidents of vehicle or conversation, to just rein that back in. Think, put that 5-second lead and watch out for sentences that begin frankly, because you will probably not regret saying them later. Pull those back in and just watch this Mercury retrograde. Put in all your usual Mercury retrograde, confirm your any registration or any reservations, check your engine light, keep an eye on things, but don't let it stop you. But do ask, use it to pay attention, make it a meditation of spatial awareness during this time. And be aware of other drivers doing strange things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a time to drive defensively.
Remember, everybody, the thing to always remember is we give you the warning, but remember, everybody else is having these transits and they don't get a warning.
Right.
So they're not driving defensively. They're doing whatever they're doing on their cell phone.
They're doing Mars.
They're doing Mars, right. Yeah.
Right.
So I'm going to throw up some charts. People ask, how can they get their charts on? We've got enough charts for this week, next week, and into the week after that. But send them to me at hrowanrobbins@gmail.com or starcodes-heartcodes@gmail.com. But hrowanrobbins is an easy one to remember, and I will get your chart in the queue. And
Heather is our Aries Virgo, so she's in charge of organizing Mark and I. It's very good.
And here is Neela. And Neela just says she's had a fair amount of losses lately and wants to sit down working through the grief of significant losses that occurred between 2023 and 2024. And any insights on possible timing for a move or meeting someone significant, they would, the starting over again, she would really appreciate. So what do we see here for the possibilities? This is her natal chart. I've got her tri-wheel. But first, all that Virgo I see, feeling like this life has, ever since that Sun conjunct Pluto by progression when she was about 4, the feeling like the other shoe is always about to fall. That doesn't mean it will, but it can be hard to really participate fully in life when you hear the things that are going wrong. It's going to be an important time for you to think about where your mind is. And I don't see you really wanting to start your new life until springtime, because Saturn and Neptune are coming back to oppose your Mercury Sun conjunction in Virgo. And it's just, let yourself reminisce. Just don't get caught in the past. Let yourself remember, but don't think that grief is the only thing. Try to see if you can also remember what you loved about those people that you lost. And to remember what joy you've had in the past. Like, bring some dopamine in from the past, not just grief, to give you a more balanced approach. It won't be until the spring that things feel like they really start over. That's what I'm seeing. Anne, do you have any thoughts on this personality here?
I would agree with that. And also Jupiter's getting a square from Saturn and Neptune right now. So that can feel very moist and what's the right word? Unguided and uncared for. And Saturn and Neptune are in the 8th. They've been in Virgo for two and a half years, getting out of it soon. but they've been dancing over all your Virgo planets. So they've been going through your 7th house, which is endings, endings, endings. The good news is the nodes of fate, you can see it over there in the 7th house, is now in that house. And we know, like, if you clean the garden out, the next day little plants start trying to come up. So new people are coming in, but you might not be noticing them just yet because you're so aware of the loss, and you're not really finished with the losses until Saturn and Neptune get out of Pisces, which is February 20th. So you've got a few more to go, or maybe not people, but maybe just processing, because if somebody dies, you have to do the estate, but there is a lot of sadness. And as a Leo rising, with the Sun Pluto, it's got an exquisite sensitivity.
Yeah.
So there's a deep sensitivity to all the loss, and you can see, I would actually say it probably started with COVID, because Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter were on your North Node during COVID, back in 20.
Yeah.
So, so it's been a season of loss, and sometimes that's where it is. The good news is your progressed moon's out of the basement. The last 18 months, he's been climbing up from the bottom of the chart, heading north. And he does get to the node of fate in a month and then in 3 months. So we look for some new incoming then, in terms of people that are of value to you, that you go, gee, I want to spend time with you, and I want to walk the road with you. And I would say to you, Mila, there's been a really hard time.
Yeah.
The other thing is with your Venus at 12 Leo is, what's the joy you have? Where do you find it? It might be just going to bed and sleeping, but whatever you used to like to do when you were 12, that's 7th grade, maybe dancing, maybe singing, maybe acting, maybe being in a chorus, do it. Do things that bring you joy every day. Because I find if we forget sometimes to exercise, and that Venus tucks away in your 12th, so it's a little hard to, you don't always think about her, Mark?
And I see that also that her progressed moon is about to conjunct her North Node in Capricorn. So while these other grief is going on, just the sequential work of your work, that just the chop wood, carry water, hard work, good work, that might keep you on track and keep you moving forward and keep you from getting stuck until that joy returns. Mark, what do you see?
You might have a sense that you have to negotiate with your moon and Venus and find a balance point between them. And you do have to do that, but don't make it everything. You need to exercise all the planets, not just Venus. Especially this week, because we talked so much about Venus, you'll be feeling it a lot and wondering, who am I going to find that will help me out of this grief? And there is nobody who's going to help you out of the grief. It's you yourself are going to take your own steps. So just be patient with yourself and know that you're entering into a new experimental phase.
That's really good.
That's good. We now have Christina, who says that she said, I'm looking for inspiration and direction in the areas of work, purpose, and health. I do private astrology consults and sales work online. In general, I'm looking for motivation for living more joyfully. I've been feeling detached and not like my usual optimistic self for a while. Can you weigh in? So we'll first take a look at her natal chart and then go into the transits and progressions. We've got another planet at that, 10, 12 Leo, Cancer. She has a Cancer rising, Sun in Scorpio, Moon in Capricorn. So, and it looks like a very can-do, competent, gets things done, visible chart. With that, Pluto came up to her south node, opposite her north, and then backed off. So it's going to come back to the nodes and really looks like it's going to be changing the landscape of all the people around her. It may start shifting letting a few people go that are not really, nourishing her, and create some more room to bring in some people that could be of deeper strength to her heart. What are you seeing, Anne?
Well, I think what I'm drawn to is the sun, the Mars and Leo. We had Neela had the Venus and Leo at that degree,
Yep.
and it's square to the Sun Neptune. So her point about trying to seek out joy is super important because the Moon in Capricorn is a little bit somber. It's in the sixth house. It's why she works so well. Excuse me, and works so hard. But also with Saturn on the South Node, that sense of I'm going through the motions. I'm not necessarily happy. Um, and that's important, because the Capricorn moon can become a little somber. Okay, there we see why. You just had your progressed sun come into your moon in the sixth house. See that, Christina?
Yeah.
So that happens every 365 years. That's a rare one. And that is also like what I came in to do, what I thought my purpose in my life was with the moon in Capricorn. That was your last lifetime, you were a Cap. This lifetime, you're learning how to be a Scorpio. So you're doing it with the astrology. The sales, I would think, is the Mercury on the Mercury Saturn stuff in the West,
And Mars and Leo in the first,
and the Mars and Leo. But also notice that Mercury is in the South Node right now. So the ruler of your Virgo planets, which are one of the big drivers of your chart because it's such a big configuration, it's in the South Node of I'm done with this. So if you won the lottery tomorrow, you wouldn't do any of the stuff you're doing right now. Maybe the astrology. But what would you do instead? And with that sun coming to the moon, it's a big time for you to ask, what's my path? Where am I in this journey? What do I want to do next? And a lot of times with Jupiter and Pisces, it's got good intentions, but it doesn't necessarily think about, well, what does it want? The Mercury in Libra tends to make you go, well, what do you want? And I'll give it to you, as opposed to what do you want? And so with the progressed sun, and now the moon's up there in Taurus, so it wants good food, it wants good chocolate, it likes its money, but it also is trying to say, well, what am I interested in? So I think in the next couple of months, as that moon in Taurus comes to trine your natal moon in Cap, you'll get some new ideas. But right now, you're at a full moon.
Yeah.
Like you literally have in the sky, by your full moon, your sun is 10, the moon's 11.
Right on that Neptune, exactly.
So I would do
close.
a big meditation on the full moon.
Right.
No mistake.
That's tomorrow.
You got picked. You got picked for the thing today. Mark, what do you see?
Yeah. I am interested in a Neptune Sun conjunction and how you deal with that as it gets hit by transits. There's a lot of just playing around you can do with who you are and how you connect to people. And it often leaves people wondering, are they really seeing the real you? And it leaves you wondering that too. And there's a lot of joy in Neptune if you use it well. And using it well is surrendering to it. So let yourself just release into whatever is going on around you and don't try to be everything to everyone. Just be one person at a time.
And that's beautiful. And I do think there is a whole reset with that sun on your moon and the full moon on your sun. It's kind of coming back to who you are underneath all the masks, like Mark said, not what makes other people happy about you. Coming back to that Jupiter in its own sign in the 8th house. How do you help other people that you know how to help other people spend their money, but it's also how do you help open up their inner worlds with the astrological work that you do and with your own sense of joy. Like there's a room for some real inner opening. That Saturn Neptune conjunction is going to be coming close to your midheaven. Saturn's going to cross over this year. Neptune won't for another couple of years, but they're both moving into your 10th house. Your progressed moon is in their 10th house right now. What is your dharma? What work when you're at your deathbed looking back on this time? What do you think you would feel is in line with your life purpose, and what it feels like it's off track. And notice that there's room now to do some paring down and focusing on what you want to take forward.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So we're done time, and we had one more client. Iris, we'll get to you early next week. And is Mark, maybe you could take us out with a full moon meditation and help us. How can we use this full moon energy tomorrow?
Think of where in your chart we have 13 degrees of Taurus and Scorpio. That's where the full moon happens. If you can place that in the house that it belongs in, uh, you'll see the areas of your life that are getting charged by this. And it is, as we started out saying, it's a big, juicy moon. There's a lot going on with it. It doesn't seem as exciting as it is. And so you can use it for a lot of inner work and connecting the inner parts of you to the world around you. So take a moment and close your eyes. Feel your breath. Think about Scorpio and Taurus and where in your chart they are and how you can use this full moon energy to connect to the world around you. Okay, open your eyes.
Thank you. And this is Heather Rowan Robbins saying goodbye from Terrytown. We'll be back in Montana next week.
Okay, and Mark Waltz in New York City.
And Ann Ortley in New York City. And we did know that the thing is the wrong date up top, but we couldn't figure out how to change it quickly. So it's not actually October 7th. It is November 4th.
It is, yes, it is November 4th. Mm-hmm. We'll take care, and we'll see you soon.
See you all next week.
Thank you all.
Have a good one. Hopefully you both